Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
What a humdinger of a show!
Jumpy, beep, beep!
Booty-O's! They make sure you ain't booty!
I got the gift of gab and the gift of jab, and I'll put that lazy eye right back to work.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast to review Raw and Smackdown and give you all the latest news on who has sued TNA this week. Of course. My name is Turbo Tony. I haven't sued TNA yet, but who knows? It's not the end of the week yet. I could totally get there on time. Maybe here at the show we can sue TNA. I'm sure there's some sort of reason. Everyone else seems to be doing it. Seems to be the craze, so we can do that. And of course, I don't do this alone. Of course, I have a teammate here. I have a companion, a compatriot, maybe some would say. And like Goldberg, he likes standing in fireworks and roaring like a grand return, making his comeback this week. It's Matt Marsander.
It's a terrible attempt at a cheer.
Yeah.
There we go.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I tried to do like a reenactment of his entrance music last week, and that went down.
Dun.
Of course, we're going to be talking a lot about Goldberg this week. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking a lot about TNA and Paige and Del Rio, which seems to be a running story going on pretty much the entirety of this month. So
that's it. There's nothing else to talk about, so let's just talk about the same shit.
Yeah. It just seems like these stories never seem to end and new things happen to them. So.
It's because they're all slowly developing.
Yeah, that's right. If, in wrestling terms, you could say they're on the slow burner. Yeah. How are you doing after your week off, Matt? How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm doing pretty good. I had a lot of family up over the weekend, so it was a bit tough for me to sort of make time.
Of course.
But now my absolute wait is over, and I'm sure this will go into the procrastination, but now I get to play Battlefield and I'm very happy.
Of course. And you're quite right in your crystal ball. We shall be talking a little bit about that. Of course, if you guys like to interact with us, the main way of doing so is our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also send us a tweet to the Twitter handle. Now, this particular Twitter handle is very interesting because, like Battlefield 1, it was actually formulated by scientists in the First World War. They initially thought it was going to be a new type of weapon, and it ended up being so powerful that they only gifted it to us. And that Twitter handle is
at TalkWrestlePod.
And like I said, Matt, only you are deemed worthy enough to handle that heat.
Bear this burden.
Bear the burden, that's right. And of course, you can send us any audio questions or private emails to letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Plenty of ways to get in contact with us as episode 150 is rolling onto us like a tank, some would say, from Battlefield 1. Talking of Battlefield 1, let's talk a little bit about that now. Me and Matt played Battlefield 1 pretty much all of Friday. We've been loving that game. I played it just before we came on. So there we are. I gained an emotional attachment to a tank. So,
I want it.
I
spent all of work today just sort of like, I want to be playing.
I want to do. Yeah. Did the idea of having a sickie today, did that cross your mind at all? Or?
No,
you did not that far then, not that you would drop your daily wage for that or awesome game. Having tons of fun with it. I've heard some people say negative things about it, so I was going in with an open mind, and I haven't seen a thing I dislike from the game yet. So it's and I don't often get games at release. I normally like to wait and everything because I've been burned a lot by new released games, and maybe they're not being all they're meant cracked up to be.
The beta was so good.
Yes, it was, and the rest of the game, Matt, it really did prove that was just a small slice of heaven, Matt, and we were getting the whole pie once the game came out. You may even hear my dog just ripping up paper beside me, by the way. And talking of other things you might hear. Yeah, yeah. You may end up hearing squealing children. Now, it's because as we record this, Matt, it is actually my daughter's birthday. It's a party going on right now. And you may be wondering, people listen to this, well, he must not be a very good father because he's not down there, enjoying his daughter's birthday. Matt, I was not invited.
What?
Yeah. It's an all-girls party, and
Okay,
I'm not
fair
a
enough.
girl. I wasn't invited to my own daughter's birthday party. So I'm now sitting upstairs in my bedroom, locked in with the dog. And it's a case now where I've moved my entire PC upstairs because there wasn't enough.
I don't want to be with them anyway.
Yeah. I'll take my PC and I'll just, I'll be on my own. That's okay. I have my Battlefield, Matt. You know how it is. So if you hear any random squealing, because as you imagine, it's like a domino effect. If anyone here has any, young girls, then you know that once one of them starts, it's just like a chain effect. It just carries on. And naturally, I thought that my dog would sleep throughout this whole thing. She slept for 2 hours leading up to the podcast and woke up just as I began. So, if you hear anything,
what it is, like I'm now just thinking because I was like, oh, it really sucks because obviously the godfather and that, and I was like, I will be there for the next birthday, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll bother because I might not be invited either.
yeah, I might even come over to you. That might be the way it is. Now, obviously, I spent the rest of the day with her and everything, and she's having a great old time. I imagine she is by the volume downstairs. I imagine that's the case. But setting that party up and everything like that, having a Halloween themed party because obviously Halloween's coming up, and my daughter likes Halloween, so some good stuff. But that, if you guys wondering why you're hearing that, that's the reason why. Another thing, Matt, talking more about video games, what about that Red Dead Redemption 2?
I want it.
Just as one angelic game comes down, Rockstar are like, you don't forget about us. Come over here. Go.
We
Get
make
excited.
games too.
Yeah, that's right. And, with Rockstar, whenever they make it any of their marquee games, it normally is something pretty damn fun. So,
yeah. And
I was a huge fan of Red Dead 1. I've actually completed that 100% twice. I don't think I've done that with any other game. But it's just a genuine joy to play. Good shit there. It's one of the few games that I played it when I had a PlayStation. I 100% it there, and then when I got an Xbox, I 100% it again on there. So I was just using it for an excuse, to play it again. now number 2's coming out, Matt. I guess maybe to get fresh with the series again.
You'll have to go again.
I'll have to go. Yeah, exactly, mate. You know how this goes. Yeah, so. I don't know if it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, but I'll have a look.
I'd imagine so.
It's a big enough title. I'm sure with it coming out now, if it isn't already, then it probably will be soon. So, good shit there. Any other procrastination, Matt? Anything else you want to put in there?
No.
No?
I can't think of anything, no.
That's because you don't know where your papers are. If anyone knowing
present the papers.
Yeah, where's? It turns out, guys, I have a decent German accent, and the only reason being is because we've been playing Battlefield and playing as Nazis and role-playing as Nazis. So, yes, we've been running around and purifying the land. I know someone's going to be like, you're doing what? I'm like, come on, guys. Yeah, it's just a bit of fun. But, it's... I'm not very good at accents. But I could do Irish because I lived here so long, and apparently I could do German, so I don't know. Still. Maybe I'll have to record it sometime doing a bit of Battlefield and put it up on the channel, see if people enjoy it. And are blatantly racist and maybe very offensive impressions, but still, we might have to go there. All right then, Matt, we've got lots to talk through this week. It's one of the few weeks that we don't have a pay-per-view, but don't worry, Matt, because next week, Hell in the Cell. So you get 1 week off, and then there's another one right back up in there. That's the way it goes. So when I say don't worry, I mean cry yourself to sleep, because it seems like these fuckers are multiplying by the week.
It's happening again.
Yeah, it's like Gremlins. You know what the brand split was? It was basically feeding them overnight or getting them wet, and now they've multiplied and got out of control. That's what the WWE pay-per-views have become. Let's not talk about WWE yet. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Raw and Smackdown as we go forward. Let's talk about TNA again. And this is the news that TNA have been sued by American Express for unpaid balance near $250,000. This is Matt. I'm actually going to just make this a newest weekly segment here, which is who has sued TNA this week, and it's American Express. No. My dog is just telling me that she's a big fan of TNA. Doesn't want us talking in smack, but we have to. So Matt, $250,000 debt owed to American Express by TNA. That's just the beginning of things. We know they owe a lot of money to a lot of other people. Other news, apparently, like the. Have you been keeping up with the TNA news, Matt? Anyway, while you've been on?
I don't think I can. Like, it's been a bit. It's been so much.
Yeah. It seems like you go in there's a news story about someone else. Someone else filing a lawsuit. It's mental nowadays. But the Billy Corgan, obviously, you must have heard about Billy Corgan entering litigation against the company.
Yes. In fact, I messaged you about it the other. I think no, you messaged it the other day.
Yeah. Now the documents were under seal as of last week. So we don't know why. I mean, we can put two and two together, but we don't know the reasons why he sued TNA. Now, obviously, I thought maybe he's been pumping money into the company and he wants to basically get his money back and kind of hightail out there. No, that's not the case. Billy Corgan is basically taking him to court. It's still not a good thing. Basically, Dixie Carr isn't playing ball that much that Billy Corgan has to take her to court. Yeah. That's basically it. He has to go to court now to make sure that no one else can actually buy TNA underneath him. That Dixie Carter can't throw the middle finger and go, oh, well, no, it's been bought out to so-and-so, and they're going to let me stay on with the company, Corgan basically is basically suing TNA to make sure that his bidding process stays exclusive to him because he's pumped money into the company by now, so he has the rights to. And that goes double ways as well. So Corgan also, he has responsibilities on that as well, that he can only he has to basically maintain his end of the bargain, which I'm sure he is, otherwise he wouldn't be suing TNA to get in that position in the first place. You know what I mean? This is just still a mess though. Even if Corgan does get TNA, he's got a mountain of debt to try and overcome with the company, and it just seems like a domino effect, especially with this American Express bill. This is getting ridiculous at this point. I think it's only a matter of time before we hear the finality of the news. The Fight Network apparently have come out and said, "Oh well, we'll pay out Corgan's outstanding stuff."
Yeah, they were like, they'll bail him out. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, which is a somewhat questionable business choice, considering.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to flush their own money down the drain, then fair enough. But how do you feel about this, Matt? After taking a week off and missing a lot of the rumors and stuff like this. Like TNA, this just seems to be getting worse and worse. It seems like week in and week out, there's something new going on.
Yeah, just like out of nowhere, like you think there's one thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but also, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's not like small amounts of money.
Like, yeah, because at one point Corgan was suing. Like, we don't know for how much, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but there's also this, and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah,
just painful now.
Yeah, it seems to go bad from worse, and I honestly didn't think that it could get this bad. But I tell you, who is the problem again? When we said this initially about all the problems with TNA, it's this Dixie Carter basically refusing to play ball with Billy Corgan and making it so he actually has to go into litigation with the company. Apparently, Dixie has basically intentionally sabotaged Corgan trying to take over the company. Apparently she doesn't like Corgan, or apparently of what we've heard. But man, looking a gift horse in the mouth, right? Like this. You know what I mean? Like this is Dixie, like looking at a guy who's basically like looking to still keep the company alive and tell him to fuck off. I'm like, what? You don't have that privilege. You don't have that luxury that you can tell people that are looking to invest heavily in the organization to go and do one. You know what I mean? Like, the situation that TNA are in. And there seems to be more and more people coming out, former executives and stuff like that, talking about things that TNA have done like badly in terms of business and not paying certain things. And looks now, Matt, that they are they're reaping the reaping the seeds. Like they fail to plant. Oh, what's a better way to put this? Sometimes they say you reap your rewards. The problem is TNA didn't seed anything. You know what I mean? They just basically it will sort itself out later. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. There's plenty of different ways I could say this. Basically, let me explain it this way. TNA are fucked.
Long and short, yeah.
Yeah. That's my fact. I could dance around it all I like, but really that pretty much explains it all in one go. TNA are fucked. So now they've got their episodes all done up until next year. It's next year when they have to fund another batch of tapings. This shit's going to start getting real interesting, and where they find this third party money from to try and bail them out yet again. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of people to try and con to get money into the company. That's just the way it is. Matt, do you think, this is my question, I know that it's kind of hard to tell because it's all going around, but do you think that TNA and the next batch of tapings, do you think that's it?
I think it could be. I think somebody's going to take one look at it and just go like, no.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it'd be really good to, somebody will go like, it'd be really good to buy TNA, but then it's all well and good, current asking price for it, and then suddenly you realise that's a lot of money on top. And all of a sudden it's like, I've bought the company, but now I need to clear all the debts for it as well. It's like, no.
It's dragging a lot of baggage with it, isn't it, to potential buyers at this point.
It is, yeah.
That's why I think it's very strange that Dixie would fuck around with someone like Billy Corgan. He seems like a genuine guy, but he has to enter into litigation against the guy. It seems stupid. It really does. But hey, it's TNA, and when you're desperate, you make stupid decisions, and that's what Dixie's been doing for the better part of a year now. So it's the way it is. Like I said, I'm not going to say, guys, that next week, we just won't talk about this because I guarantee you that it's going to become a massive news story again.
Yeah.
This is going to, we're not going to stop hearing about
someone else is just going to come out of the woodwork and just go like, got a trouble. It's like,
yeah. Yeah. Or someone decides, you know what, you owe me money, I'm suing you as well. And it's going to end up being a massive just domino effect with this company.
Yeah.
I've even heard some reports, and like I said, this is only reports. The sources aren't exactly confirmed, but we've heard reports that TNA has already been looking at the position of bankruptcy, but they only want to do it as long as Dixie Carter, it doesn't look bad on her image.
It's going to.
It is, but she wants to find some sort of way.
There's two ways about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I find that Dixie Cook, in this situation, she's been incredibly selfish here. She's willing to kill the company as long as she can look good with it.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous. I think it really does, especially when you're dealing with so many people who have pay dates with the company and stuff like that. So I think it's stupid. But still, talking of stories, Matt, that don't seem to want to end. Paige, Alberto Del Rio. Matt, more than TNA, I'm almost sick to death of talking about Paige at this point. But again, like TNA, it seems like something happens and we kind of have to address it again. So I'm starting to get worried about Paige. Last week, I defended Paige. And I said that, I believe that she's a strong woman. I believe that she isn't getting herself into a situation that she can't deal with. And, if she, she could make a decent money on the UK circuit, which is booming right now. She wants to leave WWE. It's not all doom and gloom as some people would make you out to be. However, this week, Matt, I've started to really worry. I don't know about you. And what made me worry more so is not so much Paige asking Del Rio to marry her, which she did. And he said yes, of course. It'd be a bit devastating if in the middle of the ring with that crowd if he had said no. It's the fact that her family came out and it seems like they've got no love for Del Rio and they completely condemned the engagement.
I think it went out her dad and brother.
Yeah.
Against Deal. I haven't really heard anything from Sarai and her mum.
Yeah.
Really. The only thing I've heard about her recently on this situation is the fact that she was keeping the family in the loop regarding Paige's surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, and the with her getting the second suspension, which was a big deal.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much confirmed now. I like, even just from WWE's what their actions on the other side, the fact that she's been replaced in the opening video segment to Raw.
Has she?
Yeah, she's been removed off there. It's little things like that. That's WWE preparing for the long term without Paige. And while Paige is still a employee of the company, they're making active strides to prepare for life without her. And that means, to me, I believe that they've cut ties with her.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well.
That this is going to end, and that's basically where it's going to go there. Now, the thing that I'm worried about this with Paige is it seems like she's given a lot to Del Rio. Well, the only reason I'm worried with Paige is, let's say they break up, right? And Del Rio is going to be fine if they break up. He's really not sacrificing anything. He's not really putting anything on the line. Paige, on the other hand, she may end up burning bridges with WWE. And while she could go back because she's young, she ain't going back for a good couple of years at least.
No.
That is if she goes, and I firmly believe she will. And then, of course, it looks like, and obviously I don't know the full story here, of course, but it certainly seems like she may be doing this outside of the blessing of her family, which makes you worry about things on that end emotionally for her. She got 100% emotionally invested into Del Rio. And, she's got a tattoo with his name on it. She's now engaged to the guy. And, it's I tell you what, Matt, I don't like to say it, but it certainly seems like it could be a recipe for just utter disaster with this, and you're seeing some really troubling pictures of Del Rio grabbing her by the neck that she needed operation to fix on and stuff like this. And it's I want to believe that everything is going fine, but I tell you what, there's a lot of signs here that point to maybe this becoming maybe a bit of a toxic and worrying relationship here. But I think her career in WWE, I think with the second suspension, I think that was done. I said that last week. That's pretty much it with it here. And what I'm worried about with this, Matt, and to get your thoughts on this, I would hate it when this is all said and done that Paige's wrestling legacy is remembered for this. Which there is a chance it could if this continues to go this way.
Yeah, it'd be a terrible shame.
You see some people come out of the industry and they get very bitter with the way things that ended up for them. And it may be down to bad decisions that they made that they didn't know were bad at the time. I don't want Paige to be looking back in 10 years' time and saying I could have had a long-standing career and made a lot of money for myself if I had stayed with WWE, but I decided to go with Del Rio, but now we're no longer together. It just...
Yeah.
I don't want that sort of interview to happen. And that could... potentially that is a potential thing that could happen here. I'm just very worried. What's your thoughts on that, Matt?
I kind of agree with you, to be fair. I think it'd be it's just a tough situation, really.
Yeah.
But it would be a real shame if anything like that were to happen. But I think it's something that she may have to just come to live with.
Yeah, it's maybe it's almost like life experiences. She went to WWE so young. Maybe this is something that she just has to end up learning. I don't know, but it might be a very harsh lesson for her to learn. That's what I'm saying. But that's like I said, when she came to WWE, she was 19 when she signed with the company. I mean, that's so young. You hardly experience the world from that point.
You hear like podcasts and things like that, and she says how like she's gone through like so much, like even before coming to WWE at sort of such a young age and things like that. But it's like, you can go through, but like that's like you still like not really have like a grasp on the world.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There, like you could go through a lot and still not be mature.
Yeah.
You know, like I've only really matured over the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm 28. You know what I mean? Like, I have, this is just the way it is. You know, and along those
I'm 28, and I'm not even 100% sure I've matured.
To be honest, there's a part of me that still hasn't. You know, but when you start figuring out things, and you start getting you start figuring out the lay of the land in terms of life and how people work and react and stuff. Maybe she's just not. Maybe she's just literally just been. Absolutely bemused with whatever Del Rio can give to her. And some people, I've actually seen some people say, well, Del Rio's dick game must be strong. And I'm like, oh, God. I don't really want to think that way, but clearly she's infatuated and is no other way to go about it. She has had an operation, by the way, so she will be out for a long while, but I think WWE have cut their ties with the woman. And it is a shame because I do think she still has a lot to offer. Especially on a roster now where you would hope that with the brand split could open up a window for someone like her. But
yeah,
no, I think it's done now. I think she's gone, and that's the way it is there. Talking of someone else whose public perception has taken a bit of a hit over the last couple of weeks, Mick Foley. Mick Foley
run away from Twitter, isn't he?
Yes. Now. He has basically, well, he's not run away from Twitter. He's basically said he's not going to do any private messages with fans. And that's because a private conversation with a fan was then leaked by said fan onto the internet. And I think it was in regards to Summer Rae not getting any matches on the main roster. This is something I can agree with Foley on. He should have already ceased communication with fans currently because it's doing him no favors. I've not seen perception of a legend fall so dramatically over such a short space of time than I have with Mick Foley. Like, before he came in to WWE, he was the guy who said that he would throw his TV out because he was hating what was going on Raw every single week. He seemed like a fan. And now it seems like it's just a stark change, I think, that fans are doing it. As soon as he signed with WWE, suddenly he's their greatest social media defender, you know, and it's... it seems like a bit of you're getting paycheck by them. That's why your opinion has changed. And then with what he's doing on Monday Night Raw every single week, and then the Holy Foley, I don't think resonated with fans at all. Man, his profile's taken a fucking.
Man, that thing stinks.
Oh man, it's. Have you actually? How much of it you watched, Holy Foley?
20 minutes of episode 1.
20 minutes. I got through all of. Yeah, I got through all of episode 1, and
you are a better man than I.
Yeah, well, the very idea of clicking play on episode 2 just it's that it actually caused me a little bit of physical pain. So yeah, that's just the way it is. But you know what, Matt? It just seems to go bad for worse to Foley on that sense. He was once a beloved figure by wrestling fans, and now he's got fans fighting with him. And he kind of brings it on himself a little bit because of his avid defense of what's going on. You can't fight with your fan, but he should know by now, even from someone like Roman Reigns, right? Overlooking Roman Reigns, you can't fight with the fan base. If they reject it, they reject it. That's it. You can't talk with them about it. And yeah, we're fickle. We're a fickle bunch. We say we want one thing one week, and then we want one thing another. And sometimes we say we want something, we get it, and we don't actually like it. We are a fickle fan base, but by no means is it our job to be entertained for their benefit. That's the other way around. You know what I mean? It's WWE should be anticipating what we want and coming up with innovative ideas. Mick Foley going on Twitter and trying to defend what's going on every single week and his role and the women being used as they are is only making him seem like a corporate stooge.
Yeah.
You know, which is 2 words that you never thought fans would try and associate with Mick Foley. Yeah. That's the situation we're in now, and it's a shame. I hate to see him like this, to be honest, because he might end up growing quite bitter here, where he starts looking at a fan base where he genuinely, he starts looking at the current fan base and starts becoming disillusioned with them, and starts losing the will to kind of interact with them the way he did before. Almost like the Paige and Del Rio, less so. I think it's just a recipe for disaster. I think Foley's going to become very jaded with the current fan base. But in the same breath, you can't fight with your fan base. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. This is going back even to SummerSlam with him coming out and talking about the crowd reaction. Now, I agreed with him, but he shouldn't have said it.
Oh, what, regarding the people dicking on the belt?
Yeah. I thought he would know better that if you put that stuff on Twitter, it's only going to elicit a negative response, even if you're correct.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he would know better. He clearly didn't, because he said it. And he got a lot of flack for it. A lot of fans turned on him, and it was like they've been turning on him with every tweet he sends out nowadays.
Yeah. I think it's probably just a terrible, like, collaboration of... it's just sort of like, what's the best way? I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's almost like people are just getting more jaded towards him. Yeah. It's sort of like, I don't like this, and I don't like that. And now I'm like, I'm doing this like Holy Foley. Well, that's terrible. So it's just sort of like more and more things that he's just sort of like, where people are just like, I don't care.
No, it's obviously like I look at this as not entirely Foley's fault. Like he's being booked wrong on Raw, and it seems like Stephanie's bipolar. She wants to cut his nuts next week. Next week she wants to shave his bollocks for him. It just doesn't seem to make any sense on that front. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Yeah, but the Holy Foley stuff, like I said, that's a WWE production. They were trying to force Osborne-style comedy onto this, and it just doesn't work. I said, Matt, last week that they should have used cocaine to help with the show. Just give them all cocaine. The Osbournes had it, and it certainly made things a lot of fun. I tell you what, considering I have not seen a positive fan response to Holy Foley yet, which is saying something.
Yeah, I can't say
like with Edge and Christian, they turned everyone's perspective because then they started hit in their stride with the Edge and Christian show.
If you say so, that's one thing I gave up on.
Yeah, I will stand firm and say Edge and Christian show got decent as it got on, as they started hitting their stride. In fact, I think the first episode is one of the worst episodes in the series. Whereas Holy Foley...
Give it a try. I tried a few.
I'm not going to blame you if they do one of the worst episodes is one of the first ones. That's the pie that's supposed to hook you in. So I don't blame you for not watching further. But with Holy Foley, it's one of those things I've just seen it categorically panned by wrestling fans.
Yeah,
as being just trash. It's not been a good time for Foley in this return, and he's one of those guys that I think he needs to realise that when he's with the company, he needs to quieten his words a bit. And I know he wears his heart on his sleeve, but honestly, if you're going to start fighting with fans on Twitter and start trying to get an open forum with them, then
you're going to lose.
You're going to lose. It's a lose-lose situation for the position he's in. It's just a lose-lose situation. By no means is he going to go on Twitter, get in a conversation, send a couple of tweets, and then suddenly it'll make everyone realise, we were wrong. Foley was right all along. Thank you, Foley. That just doesn't happen on Twitter.
How have I been so blind?
Yeah, no one on Twitter backs down from their point of view. It's fucking Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll just send you a gif of someone whipping out their cock just to annoy you. You know, basically what Twitter is. So... yeah, that's the news there this week. A lot of really shitty news, and just like I said, the Paige Del Rio stuff in TNA. I know we're going to talk about it again next week. Something will happen, but there seems to be the running narrative going into the end of the year that just doesn't sit well with me. But there we are. All right, then, Matt. We've got some fan feedback, some interesting questions this week. One of them, however, I have to say I've taken great offence to.
Okay,
I don't like to bring this up, but we respond to all the comments that come up, and this actually deeply hurt me, and I'm very, very frustrated with this. I do try a lot on the podcast to make you guys very happy. I do everything I can, but Silence the Fallen says Matt is God.
I know. I saw that, and he would be right to say so.
There's only one podcast God here, and his name is John Cena. No, it's me, so I can resist that.
Well, it's clearly me.
No, I'm the podcast God here.
I'm sorry, but it's like the people have spoken, Tony.
No.
Yes.
No, that's not how this works.
Yes.
As a podcast God, I am infallible to all of the peons below me. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, guys, in the comments now, I want you to decide which of me and Matt are the podcast god of this show, and just podcasts in general. I'm sure that my followers will support me, Matt, against your dare I say your heresy. Yes,
Me.
and the Church of Turbo Tony will live on. Yes, because on the 7th day he said, "Let matches open Raw." There you go. Yes, there you are.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Billy McGee asks, what non-wrestling event would we have loved to have seen live? His would have been MTV Unplugged with Nirvana, which is a good pick. He also asks what wrestling event we would want to have seen live, but we actually answered that recently. For the record, Billy, I don't know if you saw it, but I actually picked the same as you, which was Money in the Bank 2011 with CM Punk's homecoming and winning at the title and booking it.
Running away with it.
Yeah, that's right. I would have loved to have been there. Outside of, I do this immediately, Matt. I wonder or not if you can guess which one I picked.
Oh, what, for a non-wrestling
event that I would love to have seen live?
Hmm.
If you don't get it, you will kick yourself.
I'm going to go on a limb here.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it would be when Man City won in the extra time to take the Premier League.
You're damn right, exactly. I would have loved to have been at the Etihad when Sergio Aguero scored the goal, as Martin Tyler famously did. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but when I was watching that match on my laptop, I actually blacked out. I don't know what I did, but I started shouting random words, apparently, according to my wife. I dropped the laptop on the floor with no sense of it might break. I just dropped it. I started just making random noises, almost like I had gone into some sort of fit. And I shouted out so loudly that my daughter was actually quite scared of me. So I don't know what happened to me, but I just came overcome with joy.
Just possessed.
Possessed, yes. If I was there live, I probably would have just outright ejaculated, to be fair. I probably would have done that. So, which is a bit sticky, some would say, but I think in that atmosphere, Matt, I think people would have forgiven me for that. So, definitely, Matt, dead on. Man City winning beating QPR from behind to snatch the Premier League title away from Man United. Stupendous. The fact that I know the exact commentary line of that is What about you, Matt? Any non-wrestling event you would love to have seen live?
Non-wrestling event I'd have loved to have seen live. I guess if anything, I'd have loved to have seen Motorhead live with Lemmy. I don't think it particularly constitutes as a single, if there was a gig in particular, but that would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been good. That's a damn good pick. I tell you what, as well, it's one of those things where, I know I've got a lot of sporting history and stuff. If I go back in time, I know it's another sports one, but the 1966 World Cup final, England winning it for the only time.
Very true.
Against Germany. That would have been something quite special. But, cool. Actually, that's actually a good pick, Matt. I'm a little bit jealous there. BX Girl HS and Broken Matt. That's right, we have Broken Matt in this. He is a Broken Matt. I'm not sure if he's Broken Matt Hardy, of course. There we are. Don't know, because, he could just talk to the seven deities and therefore they go on Facebook for him to do that, so... and all that. You're not the biggest Broken Matt fan, though, are you? Are you, Matt, funny enough? Is it because you're not broken and he's a broken Matt and it offends you that he's not as complete as you are?
I do have Broken Matt. But I don't know.
Matt, I'm going to book it. Complete Matt versus Broken Matt. It's going to happen. We're doing it here. Good stuff. They have a discussion in the comments about the women's division. I'm not going to go into everything that was said here. But, Matt, I talked in great length last week about Sasha Banks. I wonder or not if you've seen the general apathy that seems to be growing on the fan base for Social Banks. Yeah, Social Banks. That's a nickname I'm sure people will go for. Social Banks going for the women's rights and I'm breaking new ground and blah, blah, blah. That speech, it seems to have really got some fans, against her. on that front. Have you seen this general apathy at all? Like,
I haven't. No.
I have. I mean, for one, even we have some people here that don't seem to resonate with it too much. I think it's mainly because of the fact that she does end up saying a lot of the same things a lot of the time. What I equated it to last week is when she's talking about breaking so much ground and how amazing the women's division and everything. It comes across like she's basically the living embodiment of the WWE. Did you know? Like segments where they're like, "Oh, look how fantastic you are." It's basically WWE circle jerking themselves with a little bit. Look how great our social movement is. Oh, yeah, take that. Oh, yeah. And then there's obviously other fans like BX Girl HS, who's very defensive of Sasha Banks, and rightly so, because she is. Some people have gone as far to then throw major insults towards Sasha Banks, saying that she's completely overrated and, that she's the new Roman Reigns and stuff like this. I don't think she's overrated at all. I don't think you could have 2 Match of the Year candidates from last year and win Match of the Year without being one of the best female wrestlers we've seen for a long time.
Yeah.
So on that front, now, in terms of her booking and her saying constantly the same stuff, I mean, she's getting that stuff written out for her, so you can't really blame her for that. It's WWE's booking. But she's certainly not overrated. She's certainly not. And if they were going to pick someone to be the head of the division, Sasha Banks is a good choice. But in the same sense, I agree that they need to stop the narrative with her of... They just got to stop her coming out and saying the same stuff. If you really do want my dog to be biting some crap, let me stop that. If you really do want her to be the face of the division, then you need to make it so she isn't coming out saying all the same stuff every single week and almost patting herself on the back a little bit. It's going to come across as her being... like I said, the living embodiment of those Did You Know segments, with, look how fantastic I am, I'm doing so well. And I know she's got everything to say, she's earned it, but fans are fickle. And you start going around like that, then they start going to be like, well, you like the smell of your own farts, don't you? Well, we don't fucking like you because of that. That's kind of what it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a degree, that's even what heels do. They're like, well, I achieved this, I achieved that, I'm so fantastic. I know it's not completely different because you had faces do the exact same thing, but nowadays, because the lines have been blurred. But it's certainly one of those things, Matt, where, like, obviously you don't watch Raw, so you haven't seen a lot, but I have heard a lot of the, look how fantastic the women's division are, we're breaking new ground, my heroes, Trish and Lita, and we have heard that same speech far too much.
That is very true.
And now it's started to grate on people. So WWE needs to be a little bit aware here that the running narrative against Sasha Banks, that it doesn't turn on her because she is the future of the women's division. If they allow this to carry on, and it is a serious problem that they're going here, and they're starting to turn some fans up against her, then they need to be aware that they may be in a situation that they might not be able to get themselves out of,
especially because, like you said, like she is, before they turn her into sort of like female Reigns, where it's like, look at them, love her. It's like, we don't.
Yeah, she's certainly not at that point yet, but that's an option down the line, where fans just in general, and it's one of those things that all it takes is 1 week. And fans deciding, this girl likes the smell of her own shit. We're not behind her. We don't like it. And WWE are very much trying to make Sasha the face of the division, which I'm completely fine with. But that comes with its own problems as well. So basically, that's what we have to say there on that front. MC Schwabo says that he likes us. God Tony, not Tony and God Matt. That's not how this works.
God Matt.
No. And he likes Sam Roberts as well,
God,
which is okay. Well, no, but okay.
I feel like that Mighty Boosh character. Love.
But Sam Roberts as well. This is one thing that you missed last week. Obviously, Nancy Grace walking out of Sam Roberts' podcast, which was actually quite hilarious when he brought up the sandbagging that she did on DDP, and then she tried to assume that she knew more about wrestling and what wrestlers felt when Sam Roberts does a weekly podcast with interviewing wrestlers. So that really didn't go down too well. He's MC Schwaber says that that's the only 2 podcasts that he listens to on a weekly basis. So we're in good company there with Sam Roberts. He said it would be awesome if we could do a show together as we have somewhat different outlooks. As I said kind of on that show last week, if we want those things that I have to, we just need a bit more growth because that is a big guy right there in the podcasting scene.
Yeah, that's it. I think sometimes I think we were lucky enough to get that one with Solomonster.
Yeah, we were shocked. I sent it around. I sent an email out, and I was like, "Wait, what? He's actually going to do it?"
They probably won't. They probably won't. Just worth a shot. Yeah, sure.
So who knows? I might try and get in contact, but if we don't get a response, that's like because we're small fry in comparison to those guys. Let's be honest now. We average on a good week, let's say 300 views a week. That guy's getting thousands. That's just the bottom line of it there. So, and he does have to deal with whining dogs in his room when he does it. Probably, I don't know. Maybe he does, but there we are. Cam Brock says that well done to myself for being a god and for making last week's show entertaining and funny by myself. Did you catch last week's show at all, Matt, with me?
I didn't know, I will admit.
I said at the end, I was kind of quite open. I'm glad that some of the fans kind of took pity on me. I said, I don't do this often. I tried to make it as entertaining as I can. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. I know the podcast is only firing on all cylinders when there's the pair of us here, but I did try my best, shall we say, Matt. I was actually quite knackered after the end of it, but there we are. I was like, I'll go straight to sleep. Fuck this, I'm going straight to bed. He says that, funny enough, he's out of the 2 people actually this week. He's decided to drop Raw entirely. He's going to watch Raw's pay-per-views and watch SmackDown. So basically, your schedule, Matt. That's basically
it's so much easier.
We're calling that the Matt schedule, man. That's what it's officially known as. He asks if we think the women and sometimes the men. He's basically got 3 questions here, so we'll go through them each as we go. Does he think that the women and the men go too far to impress the audience with suicide dives and planches and moves of that ilk? So we'll answer that one first. We can't spend too much time. Matt, you take this one first. How do you feel about that?
I think they do, but I think it's that kind of trouble. I think it's escalation. I think the unfortunate fact is they have to do suicide dives and planches and things like that because, well, if they don't, people will go, "Oh, well, you did it. Like, what's going on?" I think that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, they've got to a point now where they've kind of the fan base kind of expects it now, don't they?
Yeah, like the thing is, like, especially with like Big E's suicide dive, Jesus, like not his suicide dive, but when he like gut checks him against the apron and that, and I was like, and every time, like, because we've seen it look so bad sometimes, it's like,
And even Cesaro's one, recently where he spiked himself hard.
Yeah, that's a prime example. Yeah.
I would say almost the same thing as you, Matt, but I would I'm not giving them as easy of a cop out here. I think that any high spot can be interchanged out if you now have good enough awareness of decent storytelling and being a good in-ring storyteller. That's what I'd argue with that. I think if you're a good in-ring storyteller like a Bret Hart, you don't have to do planches and shit out of the ring. You just don't have to do it. Because you can tell that story without making too many risks to your body. But some of them are the way that WWE do it nowadays. It's like, because the storylines don't really resonate with fans anymore. It's almost like the in-ring portion of the program has to shock and wow the audience because the storylines don't often keep people invested anymore. So that's the way that WWE's chosen to go about that. And one of the things I will say, it is a lot easier. Man, I'm gonna annoy a lot of people now. It's a lot easier to learn how to do a plancha than it is to actually be a decent in-ring storyteller.
Yeah.
To have the psychology.
No, I can agree.
Yeah, to have the psychology of a Bret Hart or a Jake Roberts or a Steve Austin. Those guys who knew that if I do this at this moment, I'll get a reaction, rather than if I jump as high as this, I'll get a reaction. That's the difference there.
Yeah.
So, That's the answer. Number 2, how would we book Sister Abigail, and what do we think was the best era in women's wrestling? That's that's actually 2 and 3. Let's do Sister Abigail first. I think we talked about this before, didn't we?
I wouldn't have Sister Abigail.
You wouldn't do it at all?
No. I like that she's this mystery.
Okay. So you'd much rather just her be used in the same capacity as she has been all along, like mentioned in whispers sort of thing, Yeah. I'll run along and say, okay, if WWE are definitely going to go with the Sister Abigail character, then fair enough. The way I do it though, Matt, is almost a little bit of a cop out here. I do it almost like the same as you. Like, I wouldn't make her an in-ring competitor by any means. So, in terms of the character Sister Abigail, I wouldn't have her as an active talent. I think the minute you put her in a ring and make her a wrestler, suddenly she becomes like everyone else.
Yeah.
I would just have it so you get someone that appears in vignettes and maybe backstage segments, but you never see her face. You keep that mystery. I think the minute you get rid of that mystery, I think any sort of allure with the character is kind of destroyed in that fact. Of course, you'd have to have the Wyatts completely subservient to her. She is the matriarch.
Yeah, exactly. She is Sister Abigail.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I would do it. I know. So maybe that Matt, I'll just go a little bit further than you, basically. But I think it's imperative that they just don't. You have to be so careful with a character like that. I think WWE. Maybe this is the way I've been jaded as a fan. I just don't think they have the patience for a character like that. I don't know, but there we are. Anyway, best era for women's wrestling. Oh, wow, this is almost a loaded question because you're looking at women's roles have drastically changed. I mean, in the beginning, they were used as a complementary, complementary to the men when the men were still the main event and everything like this. Then you go back to the Attitude Era where they were just basically sex objects. Let's just not dance around it. That's exactly what they were.
Yeah.
And then you're coming to nowadays where they're starting to get main events and starting to break grounds and stuff like that. Certainly not the Attitude Era. I know you had some great wrestlers at that time, Trish, Lita probably leading them, but let's be honest, that's not a period of time where women are going to look back on in wrestling and be very proud of. That's just the...
I don't disagree.
Okay, go on.
But I think Trish and Lita will still stand as 2 of the biggest.
Yeah, but I mean, they're 2 standout talents in a pool. What I'm saying is that in terms of era, I don't think people look at Trish and Lita and they see the Attitude Era, them being the Attitude Era women that spearheaded that for that generation. They look at them individually. Whereas when you think of Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah, you associate them with the Golden Era.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
So that's where I go with that. I think you can't go very wrong with Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah. You may look at their matches nowadays if you can find footage of them, and you'll probably think they're very fucking tame. But back then, you had people finishing each other with body slams. So let's just be honest, take it as the situation comes.
Take it as is.
Yeah, I honestly think that the talent that we have nowadays, I think I'm going to be optimistic. I think it'll get good. I think the talent we got here, we could have the best era for women's wrestling we've ever had.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I think we've certainly got the signs that it could be there. I don't think it is though, not quite yet. But I think it's going. It's definitely got all. It's got all the ingredients, Matt. It just needs to be mixed right.
Yeah.
It needs to be cooked in the right way. So you just got to hope it's used correctly. That's really the bottom line of it there. But what do you think, Matt? I'm just going to go with Golden Era because I mean that's when you finished. I don't think you can rate nowadays. And any time between the Golden Era and the Attitude Era, I think women's wrestling was taking a big hit around that time. It just wasn't resonating as well. The times when we had Alundra Blaze, early in her career, it wasn't really catching a lot of attention, and stuff like that. As
much as some would go to say that Alundra Blaze is prominent and things like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, the way it is, like, even I'm not going to not even knock the sex object era with women, because at the end of the day, the numbers were what they were. Sable was one of the most popular women in all of wrestling history, and the reason being is because she had a big pair of tits.
Yeah.
And she was willing to show them off. And that may come off as very vulgar, but come on, guys, let's not dance around it. That was literally what it was. And anyone wants to argue with me, they liked it because of her because of her charisma and how she was booked. Come on, you could have put someone with that era and the way that people were. You put someone in there with the exact same charisma as Sable, and you make her ugly. She ain't getting over. You know what I mean? You make her flat chested with it just ain't going to work. The fact is that they use the objectification of women because in that era, people really weren't exactly.
She did Playboy.
Pioneering.
She did Playboy, plain and simple. Like, that's all it boils down to.
Because their audience was primarily males to 18 to 34. And guess what? Males to 18 to 34 really like boobs.
Tits, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are going to get really annoyed at that, but they basically play to their primary demographics' most basest desire. And guess what? It actually fucking worked. Now, I don't agree with it, but that is what happened. And you can go and look at all the ratings. And, Sable was one of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era because she was willing to expose a lot of skin. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Like I said, I don't rate it. I don't think it's the best era for women's wrestling or women in wrestling in general. But that's just the way it is. If you look at it in terms of just sheer popularity, you could throw Sable and a lot of women there that are willing to be more models than. But that's a discussion. That's a very long discussion. Maybe best served for another time. Broken Matt also said that we should alternate which shows we watch after each pay-per-view. That way, it makes us fresh for us guys and interesting. Get alternate views. I thought this was funny, Matt, because I thought you would be completely against this, but you're actually kind of up for it.
Kind of up for it.
But I wonder how much up for it you will be once you watch a bad Raw. That's what I wonder.
That's something completely different.
So yeah, maybe that would give us a bit of an interesting outlook on either show. We'll have to see how it goes. Part of the reason as well, though, is that we did it the way we did is because I just generally have more free time than Matt. So to have the extra hour each week, appeals a bit more to me than it does to Matt, because that way I can.
Yeah, but I've got an extra day to watch it, so.
Oh, well, there you are. So maybe that's the case, but maybe I'm sure we'll give it a go. We're always up to something like that.
And we'll do it for a couple of weeks, and I'll be like, "Tony, please take it back. I don't want it."
No, I've got SmackDown now. Fuck you. I tell you what,
prick.
Yeah, it's one of those things though that I never actually had in mind, but it's actually a pretty cool idea. I never actually thought of that myself. I just thought it was something being locked in stone. But yeah, maybe be a bit more.
I think the trouble is like, when would we switch?
I get you, yeah, because technically they don't, one of us would be switching to a show that's halfway through their preparations to the next pay-per-view. That's the way they do it. Yeah, that's maybe muddles it a bit. But I'm, maybe it'd be one of those things that it'd be better done after one of the big events happen, Yeah. And then we go from there. So
quarterly sort of thing.
Yeah. Because then each show's starting up from a fresh point going forward. So that could be something that we look into doing. So if you guys want to send us any questions, you can do so in the comment section below at all the social media outlets that we said there before. Before we get into the Raw review, I'm just going to look in my goodie bag that I used for all of the snacks for yesterday's gaming, Matt. So I've got in here some gold bars, that some straws. Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those for as a reward for this unintentionally stressful podcast. And if you guys don't know what I'm saying, I've probably edited this show tons by now, and the dog and everything going on, being in a different area, Matt. This is just weird to me. I don't like change. Just generally.
This is weird.
Yeah, so there we are. We actually don't have a lot of time to get through our reviews. It will be a shorter show than usual this week, as my kids are still awake and it's 9:30, so I have to get them to bed at some point. But we'll get through these as quickly as we can. To be honest with Raw, there isn't much to talk about apart from Goldberg, but I will go through everything that happened anyway. We're 2 weeks removed from Hell in a Cell anyway. This show is basically clearly being built around the return of Bill Goldberg. First time that he's going to be on the show for 12 years from Denver, Colorado. They were showing tons of vignettes of Goldberg's greatest moments, Mass, like his first match, beating Hogan, coming into WWE, winning the world title at WWE, and all that sort of things. So they showed a lot of his best moments leading up to him, and obviously sold the video game pretty fucking hard, as you would expect. So the Best Friends Brigade, kick off the show. Kevin Owens says that Mick Foley has a vendetta against him, and Jericho then sells the cell, which I think is something they should have been doing a long time ago. I don't know, obviously if you didn't catch last week, Matt, Foley just outright decided, if the women want to go in Hell in the Cell, I'm going to put them straight in, no problems. And you think that if there was one person on that roster that would be a little bit worried about what the cell could do to you, it would be Mick Foley. But no, he's just like, it's like a reward. There you go. Well done, girls. You get to wrestle in Hell in the Cell. Whereas Jericho's like, it's a place that shortens your career. Like, you don't want to be in Hell in the Cell.
I think this situation, like with him almost gifting a Hell in a Cell match to the girls, I think it just goes to show these pay-per-view specifics are weakening it. I mean, I've been on that mindset for a while now. But especially in like, I'm gifting it to you. It's like, no, it's a big ass fucking deal.
Yeah, it's a big ass type.
And obviously, I think it is. It just further emphasizes the selling short of it all.
Yeah, it just seemed odd to me that it was Mick Foley of all people, person who got decimated by that cell. It just made no sense that he would be almost looking at it like it's a joyful thing. I just don't understand, but there we are. Jericho, anyway, rattles off the names that he's beaten. Rock, Austin on the same night, and I'm like, that's how big of a night that was for Jericho, that all these years afterwards he can still use it as proof of his skill and accomplishments.
To be fair, that's a pretty big night. Yeah,
it was. To be fair, no one really gave Jericho half a chance to come out of that night at Vengeance, I believe it was, with those two belts. But, still, and you know what? It basically made that part of his career. He's been able to use that accomplishment for so long. Jericho adds the referee from last week with his match against Rollins onto the fabled list of Jericho, which he actually released the full list and the reasons why they're on the list of Jericho over the course this week, which are pretty good. Rollins comes on out, gets a cheer from the crowd. It took a little bit of time, Matt, but he's now one of the most over singles faces on the roster. I don't think
it should have taken this long.
Hey, no, it's because obviously the fans have been conditioned to look at him as a heel for God knows how long. So it took a little time for them to realise that, this isn't a 3-week thing. No, this is actually Rollins changing now. He's actually changing. So now they're over on him. They're cheering him, Matt, like Reigns wishes he could be, because Seth Rollins went heel. Yeah, I'm just going to say it again. This is the way it is. Rollins calls Jericho a sparkle crotch for having rhinestones on his gear. It's actually Jericho's angry response here that actually makes this pretty damn funny. He's just Jericho's just hitting everything out of the park. He's just in great form. Unfortunately, though, we get a close-up. Someone decides, okay, we need to actually see what Rollins is talking about here, and we get a camera close-up zoom of Jericho's ass, just to make sure. That reminded me.
Cool.
You know what that reminded me, though, Matt, was that awkward footage that WWE sent out of like 5 minutes of close-ups of CM Punk's ass at the Royal Rumble when they're trying to prove he didn't have a staph infection. So
yeah, that's true.
That really weird video. Rollins baits Jericho into sending Owens into the back so he can prove himself in a match between them. Jericho says that trying to forge a difference between, like a divide between Jericho and Owens, saying that, you do realize that Owens is using you so he can keep his championship. And Jericho basically just outs it and says, look, Owens, I know I've been champion before. I know what you're doing. I wasn't born yesterday, but because we're friends, I didn't have much of a problem with it, but I need to know I can beat Rollins on my own. So he sends Owens to the back. So this is the problem with the rivalry with Owens. Not so much with this promo. In fact, this is a promo that's a good example of what they're doing here. Rollins has looked like he's been distracted this entire time with the Stephanie and Triple H storyline. That's what sold this rivalry short, is the fact that he hasn't been focused on Owens, who is the champion. More stuff like this going on makes it seem like it's more of a rivalry between them and less of a stopgap until Rollins decides he wrestles Triple H or Triple H decides. So there we are. So I actually quite like the opening segment this week. So Jericho versus Rollins. A good match, as you would expect, with two stellar talents. I mean, you can't go wrong starting the show off with Jericho and Rollins, let's be honest. I know they main evented the show last week and that's how it ended, but they're not going to wrestle each other again for a while, and I'm fine with it on this occasion anyway, because these guys are very good. Owens comes out despite being told by his best friend to stay away from the match, so you can imagine that brings up a little bit of hostility, even more so when Rollins gets the victory. So there we are. This is, however, where anything else that wasn't Goldberg, everything else was basically shit, apart from that opening with Jericho, Owens, and Rollins. From there on, so basically half an hour into the show, until Goldberg, I'm telling you right now, spoiler, my review for this is just skip it. It's absolute chaff. It's nothing.
Fair enough.
I would explain to you, and you will realise what I'm talking about. You will understand what I'm talking about. So, they show an interview with Lita and Charlotte. Lita did a couple of her own sit-down.
Bad.
Yeah, it's a Michael Cole-style sit-down interview with the challenger and the champion for the upcoming Hell in a Cell match. They're trying to sell this match big time, and it's certainly created a divide in the fan base. I mean, is this feud a blood feud? No. Is this feud hot enough to warrant a main event? No. But
are they getting main event?
Well, that was one of the contentious points this week.
It's a discussion, yeah.
That's one of the things with Foley as well. He kind of said it, and now he had to retract to saying it. So I don't know whether it is or not, but it's on the poster. I mean, they're on the poster. It's Sasha and Charlotte. So
yeah,
there we are. So, but what I'm going with here is that no other rivalry is at that level either. So, pointing the finger at the women is just now reminded. That is a problem across the entire roster. Rollins and Owens doesn't really deserve to be in a cell. Rusev Reigns, to me, doesn't feel like a blood feud, doesn't deserve to be in a cell, and neither do the women. So none of them do. Maybe that's a bigger problem, really, than just pointing out the women on that fact. Charlotte is a great heel. She's quietly been doing her work and being a steady staple of this new women's division. Now, maybe she doesn't get a lot of the plaudits really she deserves, but she has done her job very well when she's been asked to do it. So, yeah, I think she's one of those people that she's been doing her role almost so well that people can't really point the finger at her, but also she doesn't get the praise for it. So almost a little bit like her father in a way. Ric Flair at a time didn't really get a lot of the praise for his body of work until people started realizing just how good he was, and sometimes you take for granted him putting people over the way that they did, or him wrestling certain matches the way he did, until it's months and years down the line. So that particular branch doesn't fall too far away from the family tree, so to speak. Then, Matt, the matches. Oh dear. Does the Golden Truth come out with Mark Henry? They came out here and they did these subtitles, for our Truth's entrance. So at home we can be idiots and sing along with him if we like to. The problem was with this, Matt, is that they basically only got through about 3 lines before they cut to commercial.
Whoop.
I'm like, what was the point in that? I'm sure there's someone in WWE who had sat there with the overlay and created it all, trying to make. He's like, I've got a shit job. I'm going to put everything into it, and he's sitting there going, I hate the fucking this part of the show, but I worked. They just went to commercial, didn't they? Okay, there was literally no point in doing that, but there we are. Mark Henry on their team as well because they need a match. They go against the Shining Stars and Titus O'Heal. My wife asked me, Matt, how I haven't drowned myself in a vat of acidic Pepsi yet from watching The Golden Truth. And I opened my mouth to give an answer, and I just didn't have one. So that's how I'm going to die. drowned by Pepsi, Matt. It's not a great way to go. But
Hardly, but, you know.
that's just the way it's going to happen. Man, this is just fucking stupid. I tuned out. I imagine everyone else did anyway. Henry hits the world's strongest slam on tires for the pinfall. No one gave a shit. And what can you really blame them? No, I won't talk about that because I don't have time. Just Jericho and Owen stuff. Sheamus versus Big E. Cesaro live streamed the entire match and the intro, which I thought was mildly amusing because he kind of doing the twist on what Sheamus did last week. Woods actually came out and said that Clinton and Trump would make a closer knit tag team than Cesaro and Sheamus. They do say, Matt, there's a fine line between hate and love. You know, I'm surprised no one's made a porno of that already. You know. Come over here, Clinton. I'm going to grab you by the pussy. You know, that's you know, mate. It writes itself, Matt. It writes itself. It does. In fact, I have to admit, in the last election, unfortunately, I saw some very weird Sarah Palin porn. It stuck with me.
You went looking for it.
I didn't go looking for it. I didn't type into a fucking search engine. But it just, pops up, That's a very weak response. But I am.
It's a very weak response.
It is a very weak response. So I imagine most fans at this point, as I were already, were just looking at the clock and was like, when's Goldberg getting here? Big E rolls up Sheamus for the victory. Neville wrestles Bo Dallas. Matt, you can tell where this show is going already just from those 3 matches back to back. But you know what's even annoying, Matt, is I was writing that, I realised to myself, wait a minute. At one time, I was pretty excited for a ladder match involving these two guys for the NXT Championship. That's what the main roster does to you. Really, doesn't it? It makes you...
kills it off.
Just kills it off, doesn't it? And what will annoy you even more, Matt, is that Bo beats Neville clean. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Curtis Axel celebrates with Bo after the match, but Bo attacks him. Although I will say I don't blame Bo Dallas because Axel was only just a couple of seconds away from being a full-blown Mojo Rawley. So that's a very plausible reason for laying.
What was he getting a bit hyped?
He was getting a little bit too hyped, yeah. So for his own good. So I'm actually happy with Bo knocking him on his ass. Dana Brooke versus Bayley. This will annoy you even more because Dana gets a clean victory over Bayley. And the only reason she gets a clean victory is because Dana botched trying to hook her leg on the ropes. So what was supposed to be a heel win? Yeah. What was supposed to be a heel win, Dana fucked up and she just technically got a clean victory over Bayley. So, yeah. Matt, can you see already that if you're watching the show, you'd be like, come on, fucking Goldberg, where are you? I need you soon, my friend, because this show was not trying. This show was not trying at all. Paul Heyman speaks to Michael Cole via satellite. Heyman says that Goldberg isn't worth the sweat on Lesnar's ass crack. I took liberties with that line. It's not what he said, but I'm taking liberties with it. He says that 2K17 was just a video game, and if he says yes to an actual match, Matt, that will do the unfortunate thing of pissing Brock Lesnar off. You know? He sells the match like a beast. Heyman, if he was just a skeleton in the ground, long gone from this world, and they dug him up to sell a match, he'd still be able to do it. It's like a superpower.
That is quite true.
It just works. I don't know. It's just amazing. Braun Strowman versus 3 nutritious meals. I made a joke last week when he wrestled 2 people. I was like, they can just keep upping the ante and go against 3 guys. And when 3 guys are in the ring, I was like, oh, fuck. They took my idea. Oh, well. Strowman eats, wipes his mouth, and demands better competition again. So next week he gets 4 guys. Yeah.
Didn't Sami Zayn get involved?
You are true. Sami Zayn comes out and he goes eye to eye with him. He gets shoved out of the ring. What I thought was a bit sad about this match is that I pitched an idea for the Survivor Series matches that have been teased on SmackDown. For them having it so whoever lost that match, whichever brand lost, whatever brand won would get a draft pick from the losing team. And Sami Zayn would be part of the losing team that gets drafted to SmackDown because We've talked a lot about the fact that the show is missing single stars to compete for those belts. I thought Sami Zayn would fill out that roster pretty well. He would do well in either for the World Championship or the IC belt. But no, that's not where they're going with. Sami Zayn's going to be feuding with Braun Strowman. And all I can keep thinking of is Sami Zayn could be an Intercontinental or even a World Champion on SmackDown. But here, he's going to be in a losing feud with Strowman instead. So how the tide can change depending on what brand you're on, that's pretty dramatic right there. But there we are. Zayn's reason for actually picking a fight with Strowman is because no one else will. So fair enough. I don't ask for too much, and Zayn is the kind of character he's like, I'm going to fight people to try and make a statement. I'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Rusev comes on out. The new deal with Rusev is that he's a family man now, Matt. To be fair,
a really cruddy beard.
Yeah, to be fair, though, with Rusev's Twitter exploits, I actually might be interested in a show called Me and My Bulgarian Family. And it'd be a twist between, My Wife and Kids? That was a big show back in the day with the Wayans guy. I can't remember which Wayans brother he is, but Damon Wayans, I think it was. A show like that, but just with Rusev in it. And from his Twitter exploits, I'm guessing he's quite a funny guy. So, just do that. That'd be fun. All joking aside, this segment sucked. Just outright. For as entertaining Rusev can be, and for being such a good heel he can be, because he's involved in some very shitty segments. Even just this year. Even with the Roman Reigns storyline. He's been involved in now 2 shocking segments. The first being the one where, remember, Lana dramatically made herself fall into a cake. Even though she was gently pushed in the direction. Here's another one. Basically, they just show a bunch of pictures of Rusev's family and go, oh, look how amazing they are. It looks like it's got no point. I'm like, okay, he's a family guy. Good for him. Why that has any bearing on the current rivalries, I have no clue. So, there we are. Reigns comes in and I realise what they're actually doing is trying to tank the show so much that you cheer for Reigns when he comes in and stops it. I'm like, you're tanking your show just so you can get this guy. You still try to get this guy over. It seems dumb to me. It really does. Rusev locks the Accolade on the steel steps, which I guess is much like the PTO. Apparently, because it's on the table, it hurts more for reasons. So, there we are. Carl Anderson versus Big Cass. My notes in this match was I hugged my wife. It wasn't a long hug, and by the end of the hug, the match had already finished. So,
I thought it was going to be like I hugged her and I hoped that she would tell me that it would be okay.
Or drowned me in a vat of Pepsi. Yeah, maybe. No, I literally, she came over and said, just wanted a hug. Fair enough. Gave her a hug, and I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Excuse me. What happened? So I don't know what happened here. I guess if the match wasn't long enough, that it could be. It doesn't really warrant me going back and to watch it. So there you are. So they show the Banks interview. That's the thing there where she's talking a lot more about the Banks patting herself back for all the social change and heroes, and she has to just change it up a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with what she's saying, but she's the record of Sasha Banks, unfortunately, is just skipping a lot at the moment, which is a shame because she is a very, very good talker as well, alongside being a very good talent. TJP, Alexander, and Swan versus Nice, Gulak, and Kendrick. So Kendrick is kind of recruited Nice and Gulak on his side. This is the story, Matt, of one guy being booked really well and having a gimmick that people can relate to, and one where it's devolved into things that nerds would say. That's basically what this rivalry has ended up becoming. So Kendrick, obviously, that's the rivalry, Matt, that you can get behind him with because he's desperate. He knows that this is his last chance, and any chance he gets at the Cruiserweight Championship, he knows that he might not get another one, so he's doing everything he can. And people can get behind that. People are almost like, okay, fair enough, I can get behind that. It makes a reason for him being so desperate and being almost so underhanded and vindictive. On the other side, you've got TJP, who I like, won the Cruiserweight Classic, is the Cruiserweight Champion, who has suddenly seems to just evolved into the fact, I have video games as my entrance music, so now everything is video games. So,
Yeah.
That's TJP. Yeah, it's just what is basically someone types into Google nerd culture, and that's what came up. That's basically all of TJP stuff. So it's not resonating with me nearly as much as I thought it would, considering I'm a big fan of nostalgia in terms of video games. It just comes off very forced. It doesn't really feel like it's coming from any sort of love. I'm sure that TJP is a big fan of video games, otherwise he wouldn't have it as his entrance. But the problem is he's not writing his own fucking promos, so there's the problem there. Stephanie and Foley get all happy with each other, and like I said, I guess we're meant to forget the old ball cutting deal 3 weeks ago. I tuned out and missed the announcement that turned them both into squealing idiots. They both look like my daughter's birthday party, where everyone's jumping around going, "Ah!" And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not getting involved. So, let's talk about really what everyone really wants us to talk about. It's Goldberg, man. Everyone wants to hear what we thought about Goldberg. Did you watch Goldberg's return this week, Matt?
I did.
You did.
Why not?
I imagine most fans maybe even skip Raw just to catch the Goldberg return. And I don't blame him for it. The rest of the show was pants. Let's just be honest. Goldberg made his return to Raw after 12 years out. This is the segment that everyone stuck around a bad Raw to see. And it's awesome, Matt, that for a guy who made his career over saying very little and yet making his actions do all the talking for him, that it was probably one of the best promos Goldberg's ever done in his entire career. It seems to be categorically approved. Yeah. I thought it was very, very good. They used his old WCW entrance with a few tweaks to it. I can note that it's WWE's own mix of it, but it's still pretty intact, which unlike the Sting thing, I was like, they should just kept Sting's Crow theme. But here with Goldberg, they did stick to what worked before, as they should. And I liked everything about this segment. I thought Goldberg coming in from the back with everyone applauding him, I thought that was a nice touch. And I have to admit, I think I'm not the only person that had some of their concerns qualmed. As soon as Goldberg stood on those fireworks and suddenly you saw the intensity again of him, raising his hands and the fireworks going off. Man, it's enough to get your goosebumps going a little bit. Like, this is this is what fans of Goldberg loved. That intensity when he came out, and that sort of moment, Yes, almost Goldberg's entrance gets downplayed as one of the more cooler entrances in wrestling.
Oh yeah,
at all. It set the tone for the character, the sort of character he was, which was an ass kicker. Let's be honest. And these bursts of intensity and energy that Goldberg had. The response he got, Matt, clearly hit him pretty hard. I don't think he was expecting such a loved response from that Denver crowd, which he did get. They were very happy to see Goldberg. And the reason why I bring this up is because there were some, including myself, that maybe had the thought that maybe he wouldn't get received so well. Because you look at someone like Batista who came back, and he wasn't received that well at all.
Batista was received relatively well day one.
Not as well as Goldberg was on his first return.
That's very true.
It was a bit tepid when Batista came back.
I think the trouble with Batista's return was there was a lot of just build up to it.
Whereas with Goldberg, people didn't even
with Goldberg, it was like, it was, Heyman threw out a promo. Next week he's here.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, having that, not letting fans allow themselves to think themselves against it sort of thing. Yeah, I do agree with you that helped. But I'm still happy because this seemed to really hit Goldberg emotionally. He seemed very much touched by the response. And there's some guys, I think the last guy that happened for was Shane. When Shane returned, he got that response. And you can tell it really means a lot to these guys. And you can tell immediately, Matt, that the only reason Goldberg is doing this, he's not doing this for a paycheck. Goldberg's set for life. He's doing this because his son and his wife have never seen him in this environment.
Mm.
He wants to show them who Goldberg is, not just a family guy and the father and the husband. He wants to show them what Goldberg can do. Yeah. And I think they understood pretty quickly what Goldberg was about. You know, it's one of those things, Matt, that you can go back and watch footage of him back in the days, but when you see it live, it's just something a little bit special. You know, it's like, I'm a big Goldberg fan. I think he gets a lot of unfortunate slack with people going, well, he's not a great worker. Yeah, Hulk Hogan wasn't a great worker. He was one of the most popular guys in wrestling history. Notoriously, he was a shit worker. Goldberg was a better worker than Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
I don't know what it was. I actually saw like a list recently, and it was like the 10 most overrated workers, and Hogan was in there.
Yeah. Goldberg's okay. You know, maybe and I don't expect his match with Lesnar to be fantastic, but it's just, you know, it's cool to see Goldberg again. It is. And like I said, to talk as well as he did and to still get over that same intensity and like I said, even I thought his promo was brilliantly designed. The fact that he teased not doing it first off, he's like, maybe it's worth maybe just sticking in the video game, and you know, because I haven't had an ass kicking for a while, you know, and don't quite know maybe whether or not I'd be up for this. But then he turns it around. He's like, I'm pretty sure I've got one spear left in me. Maybe I've got one jackhammer left in this. I've got one ass kicking left in me. And the killer line, which sometimes the writers fuck up a line. Like, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not the good guy. I'm the guy. Every now and then they come up with a line that you're like, it kind of reminds you the reasons why they got the job in the first place. And it was, not only Brock Lesnar, are you next, you're also the last. I thought that was a pretty cool line to end it on. I thought, overall, Matt, I don't think Goldberg could have done this. And the response, I don't think this could have gone any better.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, they didn't even give him, like, a promo. They were just sort of like, I want you to just mention these 3 things. Go.
Yeah. In which case, Goldberg constructed a very decent fucking promo from that. That was, I thought it was excellent. And it was nice if he waffled on. The promo itself was only about 5 minutes long from the time he picks up the microphone and starts talking to the end. It's only about 5 minutes, but he got to the point. He said what he needed to do. And I look back at these 15-minute talking marathons that we get at the opening of the show every single week, and I'm like, why can't you be more like Goldberg, man? Just get in and say your shit and get the fuck out.
He just closed the show.
Yeah, it closed the show. Yeah, it was the final.
I'd hope so.
They showed a lot of him going around and hugging a lot of kids, and he took his son out, put his son on his shoulder, and allowed him to have that moment and stuff like that as well. Yeah. Guys, listen, I know all those concerns I've said before, they're still valid about Goldberg and Lesnar, but I'm excited. I am. I want to see this, and it's got me genuinely. This Goldberg promo really, it kind of pushed a lot of that stuff aside, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's see this. Let's do it. You know, Matt. I would much rather see this than not see this at this point. I want to see this happen. So, fair play on that front. Next week we're going to have Lesnar around to kind of have his rebuttal. I'm guessing Heyman will be around as well. And there's a lot of build-up. I mean, you got Hell in a Cell, and then it's going to be Survivor Series that happens. So, still on that front. So, overall, Matt, despite the Goldberg return, this still is a shit show. Just going to put it out there. It's just bad. They really didn't try. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a skip it, because you can catch the Goldberg segment on YouTube. On WWE's own page, no less, you can catch it. So, there you go. They'll put it up on their Facebook the night after, knowing that most fans only really cared about this and nothing really else.
Yeah.
Which I think poses a bigger problem at WWE's booking issues, but still. All right, then, Matt, I'll let you get through SmackDown then. And, yeah, what was SmackDown like this week? A bit more James Ellsworth on this show. That's the big talking point.
It was all right. I actually think this was probably a weaker SmackDown, but starts off in your least favorite way, promo.
Yeah.
Kind of. Orton comes out. He's delivering a promo about how Bray was even more evil than he expected, but you've awoken something in Orton we've never experienced before. I kind of find that hard to believe. Like, I don't know how Randy Orton's meant to sell, like, oh, but you've awoken something within me, something darker and more dangerous and evil. It's like, you went around kicking people in the head for a while. That was your thing.
And, like, ending people's careers.
Like, I'm not that forgetful. I remember when you like handcuffed Triple H to the ring, and then RKO'd Stephanie, followed with a kiss. That was fucking twisted. Oh, but now a darker side of him than we've ever seen before. It's like, okay, sure.
He's going to RKO Bray and then kiss Sister Abigail. That's Sister Abigail's
It's just
first
full like hold and tongues and everything. Just like it out.
You know, do you want to see my snake, Abigail? Oh no, we're getting too wrong here. People are going to be pornos to this, so we can't do that now.
But he's doing all this. Wyatt and Harper appear on the Titantron. But with this bit where it's like it just shows all these black sheep masks, and it's like a big group of them. There's like, well, I say big group. There's like 6 or 7 around this casket, and they lift the lid, and there's Wyatt laying in the casket.
Yeah.
And he sort of like just laughs off sort of like Randy's threats. Like, just like, whatever, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to come for me. I'm coming for you. And at that point, Harper's music hit. So we had a little promo and then kicks off Luke Harper versus Randy Orton.
His first match back in a long while, is it, Harper?
Yeah. Well,
you're not sure if he wrestled last week.
I think he wrestled last week.
Okay.
Or got involved last week, but yeah, but still. It started off fairly well. I forget that even a guy at Harper's height, Orton can still like power slam him fairly well.
And Harper's fairly agile for his height as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
He's much more agile than an Eric Rowan, shall you say? You know, like Orton hits Harper with a superplex, and the lights go out. And Bray makes his entrance, and he's still in the casket, and these like 6-7 people with the sheep's mask and hoods wheel him down. And at that point, the adverts kick in, comes back up, and there's just Orton like passed out on the floor. Well, they just trying to say that, like, in the interim, he got laid out or something. In the interim, got laid out, yeah. Wyatt's doing his usual thing of, like, shouting out instructions and things like that. It hits to a point. Wyatt interferes in distracting Orton as he goes for the DDT off the ropes. So, ref calls a DQ. Harper capitalizes and sort of starts to attack Orton. They all sort of start laying in on him. And they go to drag Orton over to the casket. They lift the lid, and there's Kane in the casket. All right.
Punching Bray, punching Harper, and yeah, it's kind of it, really.
Is this Kane, like a tag team feud now?
I think so, because last week Kane kind of abandoned Orton.
Okay.
And now this week he's just like appeared in caskets because there you go.
It's Kane, yeah.
It's Kane. I don't know if I like this though.
Okay.
I think Orton and Kane are 2 people who are so iconic in their own right that to put them in a team now would just be foolish.
To be honest, Orton and Kane to me, I don't know. It doesn't seem to sit well with me. Just even not even watching the show, it just seems a bit strange, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know,
it sort of feels that way. We get a backstage interview with Styles, which is pretty good. But he's almost all going on about like how last week Ambrose cost him a match against Ellsworth, and now he's got to wrestle him for the title, and he calls Ellsworth a fat skinny turd, which is a bit weird. I was like,
he doesn't look like he's got any fat on him, to be fair.
Or sort of like, what's it called him, like wet spaghetti. But he goes on a remark about how like he knows Ambrose is going to find a way to get involved. And he compared if Ellsworth to win would be a comparison to when Arquette won the WCW belt.
It would be a little bit, to be fair. Like I don't like, no offense to Ellsworth, but like people are enjoying this, but by no means do they want him to win.
I'm not enjoying it. But Styles sort of like threatens to the air that if Ambrose was to get involved and cost him the belt, he'd find Ambrose wherever and take him apart. And this pretty standard.
Yeah.
So we get a women's match where I was initially very worried.
Okay.
Because Bliss got the jobber entrance.
Oh, okay.
But it started off pretty well. Bliss made use of the ref. She was very heelish in everything that she did. Sort of like get in the way, have the ref always sort of like stand between them and then blindsides her and things like that. It's pretty good. Naomi returns and it's pretty good. The commentary sort of like remarking about like, hey, Naomi is the more experienced of the two, but Bliss is the 5 feet of fury, and she's dropped the red and blue. She's now like they were going almost like they referred to her as like a bit Freddy Krueger-ish because she was red and black.
Yeah, she's wearing a lot of stuff in NXT and stuff. Yeah,
that's it. It was alright. It was okay.
I guess when you get women coming in with like jobber entrances, like I think with SmackDown it's just more of a time constraint thing, though, isn't it? It's
I think that is because I noticed it later on in the night, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
it's fine because Bliss wins.
Yeah,
she gets a Twisted Bliss, and yeah, she beat Naomi to sort of like cement her spot in being the number one contender, which she'll get on the 8th of November at a SmackDown show in Glasgow.
Okay, is that a live show?
It's a SmackDown event.
Okay, fair enough.
But she's responding about how like the fairy tale's coming to an end and things like that. And promises that in 3 weeks' time that she will be champion.
Yeah. I reckon that match should actually get over really well because just in Glasgow, I know that Becky Lynch is Irish, but the Irish still get quite a healthy response in Scotland and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's it.
That match could get some serious crowd interaction. That could be very hot.
Oh yeah, and it's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Cruz gets the job entrance this time, and Kurt Hawkins comes to the ring.
Oh, you've not been good on it. You don't like this guy.
His whole entrance is shitty Chuck Norris puns. He gets in the ring with a mic and lays out more of these shitty puns. But he kind of cuts a promo about like how Cruz will have to face the facts and things like that. And he's like, you should change your name to Apollo Lose once I've beaten you, sort of thing. And Cruz just punches him in the mouth. And that was that. There's no match because Kurt Hawkins is like, nah, you've ruined my debut or whatever, and just pisses off.
Oh, he's doing a Fandango then?
He is kind of doing a Fandango, and I don't like
Fandango
it.
Would look at any excuse not to debut all the way up until WrestleMania, and that's where he made his actual debut.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not up for it.
You've not been sold on Hawkins since you came back at all, have you, really?
I have not at all. In-ring promo. The Princess of Staten Island still isn't over. She came out and it was still a very quiet crowd. But she's basically, I guess, kind of addressing the reason she's been attacking Nikki Bella.
Okay.
She goes on about she doesn't understand the obsession. She doesn't quite get why everyone sort of cares and like, oh, my debut in my hometown and you ruined it. Nikki comes out and like, oh, I got a problem. You can say it to my face. And then Carmella's like, you stole my spotlight. And like, the only reason you're brave, you have any, like you say you're fearless, but the only reason you can say that is because you spend every night with Mr. Hustle, loyalty, respect. So
playing the Cena card, essentially.
Playing the Cena card, like everyone's done.
I think everyone's done that.
A lot of people. I guess she has kind of given voice to a lot of like the crowd reaction. Yeah, accusing her of being like a gold digger and all things like that. Nikki puts her down to being like every jealous hater she's ever had to deal with on the internet and things like that. Carmella refers to her as needy, and we get a vignette of all the candid moments of Nikki Bella and John Cena from Total Bellas and Total Divas, which, I mean, in those moments, it really does paint her off as being very needy.
Yeah.
But Nikki's like, basically, fuck you. Like, I came back from a career-ending injury. I got my foot in the door myself. I didn't do anything. Like, yeah, okay. Like, it's like, oh, Carmella refers to it as a very secret relationship. Like, nobody knew that she was with John Cena. He's like, okay, so 2 TV shows, 2 reality shows, and up to, thousands of pictures online.
Yeah.
Real
hardly
hidden.
hiding it. Yeah.
Real hidden. Yeah. Carmella basically like, I don't care. Like, you used your looks, you used your sister, and you used your boyfriend to become a diva and become a celebrity. And that's it. It never came to blows.
But at least it gives some legitimacy to the actual why things have been going on. I do like that they're bringing that up, though. I mean, I know you said you may be a bit jaded, but like, I'm much more of a fan of SmackDown with bringing some of this stuff up and using it as reasons for rivalries, because on Raw it just seems to be like, okay, we're just wrestling each other now, sort of thing. It doesn't seem like they
fighting.
Yeah, they don't make it personal anymore. That's the problem, And their idea of making it personal is really shitty reasons, like, oh, I'm defending my woman's honor with the whole Reigns and Rusev thing. It just comes off really dumb. So
yeah,
I like this maybe more visceral sort of reasons, and but still, maybe that's just me thinking the grass is greener on the other side. I don't know, but there we are.
I think you are.
Yeah.
But you've got what's next? Ellsworth interview backstage. I forgot to even mention Ellsworth now has a t-shirt.
It's just him with the no neck, isn't it?
What's this him with no neck? He has no neck. Well, he has no chin, at least.
Oh yeah,
I noticed he has a lot of scarring, and I really kind of should listen to, like, he had a podcast with Jericho, and I'm kind of curious why he has no chin.
I'm sure we'll go into that. I'm sure it'll be one of the big questions.
But he's like trembling. I was like, because Renee's like, how do you feel about going into this match? And he's like, look at me, I'm shaking. And it's like, you're not even a little shaking. He's like really animated, like, like his hands all over the place. Like, this isn't natural. I'm not doing this. But he's like going on about how emotional he is, and sort of like how one day he could tell his grandkids that he had a match, that he's, I'm not in the same league as AJ Styles, but here I am. I'm about to have my match, and it's almost like he's about to cry.
And you don't like this guy who would normally never get a title match. It's very interesting to see you so negative against him when he seems to really got like resonated with a lot of wrestling fans.
I don't like Ellsworth. I don't like it. Okay, it's a guy who they brought in just to go for. Lady, we'll do it after this.
Okay.
So, 6-man tag team match.
Okay.
Tag team match. The Miz and the Spirit Squad.
Okay.
Ziggler and, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Man Beast.
Yeah.
It's all
Can
right.
the Spirit Squad guys still wrestle? How are they wrestling nowadays? Like,
Kenny better than Mikey, but still not bad.
I think you could kind of just look at that from their frames and their build. Like who's going to look better? Yeah, but
yeah, that's very true. Rhino gets a good EC dub chant. Everyone loves Slater still because everyone loves Slater. It was all right. I don't think there was anything that I can really stand out and go, yeah, this was a defining moment of the match.
Mm.
Slater has a wonderful arm drag, though.
Well, I think it's just known out, yeah.
Just, like, it was the one thing I noticed. It was just sort of like, that is beautiful.
Is it as good as Steamboats? It can't be better than Steamboats.
It's a close.
Oh, okay.
It is a very close. Maybe not. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anything could be better than a Steamboat arm drag.
No.
But it all breaks up a bit. Rhino gores Mikey. He's pushed out of the ring by Kenny. Slater goes for a roll up, kicks him off, shoots him towards the ropes. Miz cheap shots him, and then Kenny gets the pin. The Miz and the Spirit Squad win.
Spirit Squad, do you think they're going to have many more matches? I mean, this is quite a long run for them.
I don't know. They came out to the Miz's music and then they played the Spirit Squad because, they won. And I'm like, oh no, that's what it sounded like. I forgot.
Just be glad they don't have the megaphone anymore. They used to come up with that.
That's
shit.
very true. I quite liked the beginning, because right at the beginning they cut that little backstage interview, and there's Slater just oh yeah, I'm doing it for my kids because they need a stand prove I'm a hero and to stand up for people. And there's just Rhino just punching into his hand, just I just don't like male cheerleaders.
Yeah,
it's fair enough.
No, Ryback doesn't need. Sorry, Ryback? No.
Ryback? He doesn't, I suppose.
Yeah, Rhino. I was about to call him Rhyhorn. What's going on with me? It's getting late at night and I'm suddenly. Rhino doesn't need a reason to any more of a reason to do what he does. He's just I just don't like it.
Does. Just does. We just accept it as it is.
Yeah.
We get a backstage moment because I haven't seen Shane in weeks.
Really? It seems like he's less involved than Steph is on Raw.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan was on the phone to Shane discussing that Stephanie McMahon accepted the challenge that they should start making teams for Survivor Series. And it's they're not all hanging around singing Kumbaya, but I reckon they can sort of come together and be a team. Apparently there's going to be a SmackDown versus Raw women's match.
Yeah, they're basically doing 3. They're doing a tag team and a women's and a singles, which I think is I don't like
too much. That is definitely too much. But Natalya comes in and she asks how she'd be really good at leading the SmackDown women's team. It all usual shit, really. And now, unfortunately, it all breaks down to Natalya going, "Oh my god, have you seen my cats?" And it cuts to commercial while she's showing her the Instagram.
Really?
Whilst fishing a plug. I'm like, oh dear. Oh dear. Swagger versus Corbin. I'm not going to go into it because I'll probably spend more time talking about it than the actual length of the match.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was quite short. It's there's a bit of a back and forth. Swagger gets a clothesline and Corbin sort of gets a bit of a fight back. And then before you know it, forearm assault from Corbin. On the outside, and then Irish whip into the ropes. End of days, done.
Yeah.
So Swagger has gone from having no matches on Raw to being the squash in a SmackDown match.
Yeah. But one thing I would say about that though is that Swagger's at probably one of the more tail end of his career though, isn't he? He's almost like Sheamus in a way.
Yeah.
He should be used in this sort of degree unless they have a much longer term plan for him. I'd much rather they try and use it something to get Corbin over because I still think there's something they can do with him. But but still.
Then they're still backstage. Natalya is still showing Daniel Bryan cat pictures.
Oh, God.
Broken up by Dean Ambrose in a referee shirt. He's got yeah, ready to go. And I'm I'm ready to go referee this match. And Bryan's no, I'm not going to let you be the special guest referee. But, you can be a timekeeper. You could be a ring announcer. You could be the commentator. You could be on commentary. And Dean's that's great. I'm going to do that. And walks off. Daniel Bryan's the fuck?
He's going to do all of it, Matt. He's a multitasking man. That's what Dean Ambrose can do,
You joke.
Okay. It's not the first time I've said a joke like this and it's ended up coming true, but there you go.
He does go first to the ring. And out comes Styles. And out comes Ellsworth. And Dean Ambrose gets in the ring and is the ring announcer. And he's like playing up Ellsworth, all these things, you know, the man who lives with the two fists has a chance mentality and all things like that. And then he goes to Styles and it's like the master of taking the easy way out and current and temporary world champion. And then he jumps out of the ring. And then he goes to the timekeeper's area and he's just like ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. And he just beats on the bell for a bit. And obviously Styles is getting a bit pissed off.
Yeah.
Sort of like Ellsworth sort of takes the opportunity, sticks him in a hold, and Styles just like, no, and reverses it. Then Ambrose picks up a mic and he's like, I regret to inform you that we will now be taking a commercial break. The match must stop.
Oh, God.
Styles is like, the hell are you doing? He's like, gotta pay the bills. And the show did actually cut to commercials.
That's inventive. I like that. That's
it is. We get back from the commercials. Styles is beating down Ellsworth, places him on a top turnbuckle. And he goes up to sort of, he sticks him on the top turnbuckle, goes after him, and then Ambrose is like, may I have all the crowd's attention? If everyone could just look up at the Titantron, we're now selling James Ellsworth shirts on WWEshop.com. And obviously Styles gets distracted. It's just ridiculous. He always gets distracted away. Then Ellsworth sort of comes along, he's like, oh yeah, and just carries on beating in on him. He just, like, Styles starts accusing Ambrose of getting in the way and interfering. So he went outside the ring. He goes into Ambrose's face, and then accusing Ambrose that he is responsible for the beatdown that Ellsworth is having. He starts pounding in on Ellsworth again. At that point, Ambrose is on the mics, like, can the owner of a blue Toyota Corolla in the parking lot, your lights are on? And that he's like holds up a pamphlet and is like SmackDown sponsored by Verizon. It's just like he's always just being a dick.
Yeah.
And it's great. It is funny. So obviously Styles is getting distracted by it all. Ellsworth like guts to the top rope, delivers a splash, and Styles just looks at him and went, nope, and sidesteps it. He just flat on the floor. And Styles throws Ellsworth out of the ring, trying to get a victory through count out. Ambrose throws him back in. AJ throws him out. Ambrose throws him back in. I would give credit to Ellsworth, because this must not have been easy.
Yeah.
Because that went on. He probably went in and out about 6 times.
He's got his cardio in check.
Definitely. Like, he rolled it out, splat, splat on the floor. And then before he could even have a chance to breathe, Ambrose has got him by the belt loop and like chucking him back in. And that went on for a bit. AJ delivers almost a bit. It's really weird. It almost looked a bit botchy. It looked good. Okay. He recovered it very well. But AJ delivers a spine buster and I'm like, and he starts beating in on Ellsworth in the corner. Ambrose then accuses Styles that, you know, you might look like a soccer mum, but you sure as hell hit like one. At that point,
I like this Ambrose, because sometimes when he does comedy, like, I don't know whether or not I was watching on Raw, but sometimes it just wasn't coming off that well, or maybe one, but like this is like kind of the Ambrose that I remember back in the Rollins,
yeah,
where he was really kind of like hitting everything out of the park, sort of thing. So, but yeah, carry on.
And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and Styles just starts pounding in on Ellsworth to get disqualified. So Ellsworth is like in the corner as the victor, but it's pretty much just like completely out of it. AJ sort of has his brick sort of celebration about it all. Ambrose gets into the ring. AJ tries to attack him, but he gets stuck into a very quick, very quick dirty deed. It looks quite brutal.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Very snappy, isn't it?
It is. And then Ambrose gets the mic, and the man who has more victories over AJ Styles than John Cena, James Ellsworth. Obviously, title match didn't change hands, but Ellsworth has a win.
2 wins now.
2 wins in 2 weeks.
2 and 2. Yeah.
And that was the end of SmackDown, and it sort of left off. I'd say Ellsworth standing tall. He wasn't really standing.
Yeah,
It wasn't the fact that Ambrose wasn't holding him. He wouldn't be standing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was SmackDown. I think a lot of it could be missed. I don't think you'd lose anything if you skipped this week.
Yeah, it's slowly building up to that Ambrose Styles main event, I imagine.
Well, this week or next week, whatever. It's Styles versus Ambrose, non-title. If Ambrose wins, he gets number one contendership again.
Yeah, he's winning that match. I guarantee you that's going to happen.
I don't want him to, but unfortunately, at the moment, there's no one else to contend.
Yeah, really? Yeah, we see even Cena's gone now, isn't he? So again.
Although I'm like well up for if rumors are true.
What do you mean?
Have you heard?
No, go on.
Styles versus Michaels.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about that this week. Although apparently though that there isn't.
Oh, it's a complete. It probably is, but all boiling down to pure speculation. But if that's true, I want it.
Yeah, that would help sell out the. I mean, apparently, like people have been like saying it's a Royal Rumble, but
it is for Royal Rumble, yeah.
Like obviously to sell out Alamo Dome, which is a big stadium, they're going to struggle to sell that out. But yeah, that would certainly that would do the ticket. A return to Shawn Michaels, that would get a lot of people involved in that. I'd argue that for someone as big as Shawn Michaels, even Goldberg, you really should be saving for WrestleMania. But we talked about that 2 weeks ago anyway. So
I don't like Ellsworth.
You don't like Ellsworth? Okay, tell us why you don't like Ellsworth.
Because I don't like it.
You just don't like it. He's only been used as a tool to tell the proper rivalry, though. So
he started off as a little. I'll say like a little creature. He started off as food
for Strowman.
Strowman. And then suddenly, some very vocal people on the internet have just gone, "Oh, we really like him." I'm like, the fuck? Really?
I know, but like, I think it's maybe because like he just looks like a common guy, right? Isn't he? Like, so that's easy because he comes off as way more genuine as maybe some of the people at WWE end up pushing.
I'm not up for it. I don't like it. I think it actually. I saw a poll recently. Like, do you think all this shit with Ellsworth is damaging Styles' credibility? I would say that the whole Ellsworth thing, if you're going to put it that black and white, over the year that Styles has had, I don't even think it compares. I think Styles has had a phenomenal year. Yeah. I really don't think that the Ellsworth stuff is going to damage him far beyond where it's going now. Because you got to look at Styles. Yeah, he's probably losing against Dean Ambrose next week, but he's winning that rivalry. He ain't dropping the belt to Ambrose. That is very true.
So you look in that sense. I mean, people have been booked far worse. That's all I'll say. You know,
I don't like it. I don't want it.
Well, I very much doubt he's going to be around much longer. Although, to be fair, the fan response from him has been generally quite positive. So maybe, Matt, you might end up seeing him a lot more. I don't know.
Nope.
You're not a fan. You're a fan of chins, Matt. Is that what it is? You like chins? You know,
just not a fan. Don't. I mean, yeah. Chins are natural.
And he's an abomination. Is that what it is, Matt? You think he's a freak of nature? You know, in the wrong way.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just doesn't resonate with you.
It doesn't sit well. I don't enjoy it.
Personally, obviously I haven't watched this, so I can't reform my opinion, but I can understand the appeal because sometimes people just want to get behind people that clearly WWE didn't really have much of a plan for in the first place. And he's not as if he's being booked to be superior to AJ Styles to getting proper victories over him. It's just more for comedy's sake. So I don't know, because I haven't watched it. I'll go by what you're saying because you have, but I think that's what people's other, or maybe they look at it as we created this buzz for Ellsworth, so this is kind of us winning with it. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that might be it. But so overall, what are you going to give the show? You're going to give the show a miss? It?
Yeah. I don't want to give it a miss. It's just you won't gain anything if you watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also because they've got some time until, because obviously they don't have Hell in a Cell, so now they're building up towards Survivor Series themselves. They've still got a long time now for that, so like they've got to fill it up with a lot of extra stuff to kind of make it go along. So 2 misses this week, which isn't really a good week for pro wrestling, but that's just the way it is. All right, we need to wrap up anyway, Matt. Is there anything else that you want to cover before we end up wrapping up this week? No problem. No problem. If you guys like to interact with us, the main way of doing so is our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also send us a tweet to the Twitter handle
@TalkWrestlePod.
You can indeed. And of course, you can send any audio questions or private messages to the email account, Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. If you're new to the channel, if you liked what you hear, hit that subscribe button. You become one of our almost 700 subscribers. Apart from that, Matt, I think I'm all plugged out, am I? I think I am. I think I'm about there. Hope you guys did enjoy the show this week, and hope you enjoyed this week in general. If anyone's bought Battlefield 1, tell you what, let us know what you think in the comments below, because we're having a great time with that. So, apart from that, guys, have a great week, and we'll catch you all next time. Have a great time.
Catch you soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye bye.